So, One Piece chapter 1186, title one more time. We've got Ida on the cover page, and she's watching Loki secretly draw a picture of her. Okay, it was a reader request. And she's kind of watching him in secret, you know. So, the chapter starts off where the last one left off, like always. Brook is inside the throne room, and he's just witnessed Revan get stabbed and he's killed on the ground. And Brook is in shock and disbelief. He doesn't even know what's going on. And inside the throne room, we see Imu. Imu's vestige there, you know, the shadow body of Imu taking over Mars and his body, right? And I know I was getting some of their names wrong. I forget it sometimes, man. I forget. I only remember Saturn most recently. I remember who Venus Juro is, you know. But then when it comes to the other one, Mars and Mercury, and sometimes I forget. But anyway, so Imu is apparently taking over the Itsumade, and he's, you know, kind of there in form. So the way this scene picks up, and we're not getting any details on what's happening beyond what Brook is seeing, and the way it's being shown, right? And it's kind of abruptly, we're just leaving from that day. And even after, you know, if you continue with the chapter, after Brook kind of encounters Ashuri and she's talking to him, and she stops talking about the king like that's her father. She's calling him that man. Okay, that man is already dead. And Brook obviously does suspect that the man who was sitting down in that room smoking did something to Shuri. Okay? And, you know, she starts speaking like, well, that man wasn't even my father, Brook. Did you know I was a celestial dragon? And she said, where's the proof of him being my father if he really is my father, right? And, you know, so on and so forth, the whole reveal happens. The man smoking reveals his eyes when he looks at Brook, and he starts talking about Lady Candle, and he remembers Brook being her squire. So Brook sees his eyes, and he knows, whoa, he has the same eyes as Gonko. So, you know, this is obviously some signs and some stuff going on. I don't know if Candle, like, we don't know the circumstances of this. Did she let this happen to try to protect the king? Did she think that, you know, if she let him do what he was doing to her, she could buy safety for her people, but ended up not, you know, living anyway? She ended up dying and whatnot. I don't know. But like I was trying to lean into earlier, Brook is in such shock that he doesn't even notice. He didn't even remember or think that what he saw was real, right? He didn't remember it was real. He thought it was kind of a dream and a nightmare. And we go to a scene where, you know, I was saying this previously, Brook might get injured. He might get injured in his head by Gonko, and that could contribute to his memories. I think it's contributing to his trauma and whatnot. But obviously when he woke up in this flashback on the boat with his crew, with his, you know, the battle platoon or the battle legion that he's a part of, he didn't even remember any of the events. And every time he starts to remember, he gets like this nightmare flashbacks of trauma and PTSD, and his scar starts bleeding again. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, the fact that after Brook wakes up and he realizes that, you know, again, the reality he's experienced happened or whatever, and he kind of starts bleeding again, we go back to the present day. The fact that we're going back to present day right here, and we're not getting anything else about that flashback, is telling me I might also be right about us getting the other half of that flashback, the other perspective, Gonko / Shuri. She might end up telling Brook from her perspective how everything went and what happened, okay? And we're gonna find out the exact circumstances around her new attitude. Presumably she got Dome Reversed, but is Dome Reversed enough? Like I've been saying this for a while, right? I know a lot of people think that Dome Reverse and the possession through the Mark of the Abyss, yeah, they are different things, but people think there's nothing the same about them. No, there's a lot of similarities about them, like the personality shift from whoever you used to be to this new demonic mindset, right? And this arrogance and all that sort of stuff that you have, the increase in power that you gain, right? And the fact that when you get injured, you regenerate. through this connection to Emu. Now, Dome Reverse might be Emu giving people the power of the abyss. He might be giving them power, or like activating, you know, the dormant power of envy and whatnot that's inside of them, the stuff, the Maki that he was talking about, right? He might be activating dormant Maki inside of people when he, you know, Dome reverses them. And aside from that part of the speculation, we know that it's completely true that these two things have those other similarities I mentioned with the whole personality shift and the regeneration. So my mindset is maybe him using Gunko's lifespan to Dome reverse her made her also immortal within the same breath, right? Because the immortality works the same way that we saw with the people with the Mark of the Abyss to a certain extent. They get injured, minus the steel hearts and whatnot, right? They get injured, their body regenerates, they lose a limb, it grows back, right? We've seen it happen with God Knights and Dome Reverse alike, okay? So whatever Emu did to her this day, because obviously her personality is different and her eyes do not look different colors anymore in any of these panels. I assume they're both glowing red at this point, right? They're probably both glowing red at this point, and she doesn't even have any pupils. So it's kind of weird and strange when previously, you know, we still saw her eyes looking, you know, with the heterochromia. She has the bipolar irises, as the English translation said it. So I'm thinking we're going to get her side of the flashback and her perspective and whatnot. So that's a whole nother thing. Not to stay on the Brooke part too long, because it was only the beginning. You know, he ends up telling all the Straw Hats, hey, I want to save her. They say, yeah, let's do it. Brooke runs off, and they go to attempt to save her. But Usopp is kind of thinking, oh, what can I do? I can't blow the ice up. What should I do to help? I wonder if this is Emu. I wonder if this is Oda actually trying to hint at Usopp wanting to do something or playing a bigger part, or is this just Usopp kind of saying things out loud and, you know, he's bullshitting again? I need to know. So Luffy's back. He ate some food and he's strong again, and Emu is fighting Loki, and they're sitting there talking about, you know, Loki's kind of saying again, like, why is this guy going after kids? Stop going after kids. You government guys fight really dirty. Keep fighting dirty. Just fight me. Stop worrying about the kids. Emu goes into a monologue speaking about 800 years ago, which is during the Void Century, and that's even some of the times. The Marley text, or the Harley text, I should say, the Harley text depicted things going on around the Void Century, and we know that it was created around that time by the kids in Elbaf who heard these stories and whatnot. So the kids in Elbaf who drew the Harley text on the wall were also apparently they were under the threat of being kidnapped 800 years ago too, because Emu speaks about when the children got when they got abducted. When they got abducted, he was able to subdue Elbaf in the past, okay? And we know that this probably is he probably did this because we know in the past the giants controlled the New World. They kind of took over the New World 800 years ago. They were running around and they kind of ruled the New World. So in order to kind of rein the giants back and, you know, put them in their place, they probably had this blackmail going on. They took the kids and they were able to subdue Elbaf and the giants in the past before. So Loki's like, well, what is this dude talking about? I'm about to hit him in the head or some shit. And he starts swinging at him, and Ragnar lightning going off. But then Luffy comes out of nowhere and punches Emu in his face, like really hard. Face form Luffy with a hockey fist, and he's punching Emu in the face, and Emu gets the it's not necessarily goofy. I mean, it is kind of goofy, but I mean, he just got punched in the face at the same time. This is how getting punched in the face looks mid-punch. Your face is smushed up. So Emu's getting punched so hard, and seeing a villain who's supposed to be a big threat, and he's like supposed to be, he's the antagonist. He's supposed to have some level of like intimidation about him. So I guess for some people, him getting punched this easy takes some of that away from them. I don't know. I feel like this just this kind of normalizes him in a way. Like his existence is not too far from these people. He too he lived in this world and obtained power in his own way. He's not really a god in that sort of sense, and I like that feeling. His power is overwhelming. He thinks of himself as a god, and he's achieved things and done things, I guess, that you can contribute to something akin to what a god could do, right? But Oda's letting us know he's still mortal, especially right now in this form that we're seeing now. He's extremely mortal. He could be punched in the face. Loki hit him earlier. He felt it. He might not even like get that hurt by this. We have to see how much it hurt him, because Loki hit him with a hammer earlier and he just like coughed up a little blood, shook it off, and he was back. He was ready. So he might shake this off. He might get mad because he got interrupted. Who knows? But I think it's kind of crazy that he got punched in the face like this. In this chapter, maybe I'm mistaken, but I feel like it wasn't as long as the other ones, okay? It wasn't as long. But I think the flashback will continue with Brook. Not exactly continue, but we're going to go back to it, okay? We're going to go back to it and look at Shuri's perspective and whatnot, and she might even talk about some of the things that she was doing in the Holy Land since she's been there, and how she was just like kind of floating in the back of her own mind. Or maybe she wasn't floating in the back of her mind, she truly felt these things. Like, you know, it wasn't like a split personality, even though when it turns on and off, it seems like one, right? This another personality of hers. And it might not be as simple as the whole time she was kind of in the background of her own mind. She's actually, you know, she's obviously experiencing all this, but it might be like, it just might be a stronger connection is what I'm trying to say. You know, she might truthfully feel like, you know, I actually felt those things and meant those things. Like I completely hated my father. From that day on, like I just had feelings of hatred straight up for him. You know, it's not like, oh, I just watch my own body do things I didn't want to do. No, like, you know, she's actually doing them with her own hands. She's feeling it, right? She's acting it out because in her mind right now she wants to, and that's the more painful part about it, because you were being manipulated, but in some ways you don't feel like you were. You know, you feel like this is like, you know, you changed. This is what you want now, you know? Even though you know you're being manipulated. Like Harold told Loki, he said, you gotta kill me. I'm starting to think of myself as a god. He just didn't like the thoughts. Like he didn't say, oh, I can't control you. He couldn't control his body and stuff. But it wasn't from that frame of perspective, you know? It was more like, yo, I am changing. I am changing inside and out. You have to stop me. I'm becoming a different person. You know, I'm just changing, dude. Like, I'm having thoughts I should not have. So he had to get himself out of there, okay? And as far as Shuri goes, yeah, I hope she gives us some more information too about maybe what the Holy Land wants to achieve or something like that. Their bigger goal outside of what we know, they want to keep the secrets secret, and, you know, Imu wants to keep people in their places and whatnot. Okay, like, why is the Holy Land collecting people like her? What is he amassing these forces for? Is it because he's afraid of the D coming back, or like not even just the D, but the other people in that history coming back? Like, you know, the people connected to the world, the Void Century, all those people, the people of the moon, and the people who praise the sun god. Is he afraid of them coming back? Is this why he's prepping? Even like 60 years ago, he wanted Shuri because of her eyes. What's so special about her eyes? Do the eyes themselves have power, or are the eyes a sign of power? Because her father said he has the eyes too. Her real father said, I have these eyes too. I mean, he didn't say that. We see that he has the eyes too, but he said the power didn't awaken in him. So the power doesn't always awaken in people with these heterochromatic eyes, but like it did in her, right? It did in her. And I think the power that we're that we're that's most likely needed, right? The ability to see into the future, the observation hockey portion of it that lets you see into the future. And albeit we don't know for sure, it might not even be observation hockey, right? Shuri as a kid wasn't using hockey, okay, not that we know of. But Brook even said, hey, Princess Shuri, it's almost like you can see the future. I think that was a red herring. That was like a little setup right there. Oda's giving us the direct hint at what her eyes are able to help her do, why her eyes are special. And maybe it's a funny coincidence that Shanks is somebody who can also see into the future to the extent that he can, right? So it's kind of weird that the celestial dragonborn, people, the celestial dragonborn war babies, can both see into the future. And this guy's mentioning how the eyes are special in this moment, right? He's talking about how special the eyes are. So, yeah, this guy is sick. Even just like his arrogance and him casually talking about Kandel and how Brook wasn't even able to get close to him, and that's just ominous. That's immediately ominous for Brook. Like, what are you talking about? You're speaking like you just know her. And then I look at his eyes, and his eyes are different, and it just all connects for him. It's like, whoa, what? He loved Kandel too, so for him to hear this, like, yeah, it's like that's the whole thing for him, right? He's like, dang, what's going on? There's a lot of betrayal and lies happening right now. I need to figure the truth out. So yeah, Brook is going through it. Shuri's going through it. We're going to see the rest of her perspective. I was right. Brook does get stabbed in the head. It affected his memories and, I guess his perception on the event outside of the trauma itself affecting him, right? His memories were different. Okay, he got messed up. And this kingdom that once was beautiful was gone now. And we might not even see him talk about what he did immediately after. Maybe Oda's going to leave that kind of blank because the kingdom is still there. They even said it this chapter. The kingdom is not destroyed. The king is dead, so the war is over. And, the government has Princess Shuri. They need nothing else to do with this kingdom. They're going to leave. The kingdom's still going to stand for a little, duration, right? For an extent. Maybe not forever, right? Because Brooks said it before, his kingdom's gone. Maybe he just meant that, everybody's dead from it because, eventually they're gonna probably just kill each other off. People are gonna starve. There's no more king. There's gonna be chaos. The kingdom might die off in that way. Or eventually over time when Brook finally decides to set sail and he kind of leaves the rest of his military squadron back at the island because he just can't stay on the island anymore. It's too much trauma for him, right? He sets sail. Maybe he'll witness the island being destroyed, or he'll hear about it in the news. He'll tell somebody, hey, I came from this island that's over here, and they say, hey, there is no island over there. There's just a giant hole over there now. What are you talking about? What island? It might turn into that sort of thing. Who knows? So yeah, Brook being stabbed by his own technique, like I was saying before, he learned from Kandel and he passed Kandel's techniques down to her daughter. And then her daughter is the one who used those same techniques to kill him and her father, betray everybody. Well, not really kill Brook, but you know what I mean. She betrayed everybody with those same techniques. He has to watch it. He can't do anything about it. So that's it for me. Only questions I have is why was the king Dome Reversate? Was Imu trying to subjugate the island that way? I'm gonna Dome Reversate him and make him tell me where the princess is, or make him rule the island for me. Why did he Dome Reversing him? We saw him with wings. He doesn't have them anymore, right? As far as we can see, Brook is looking at him laying on the ground, and I think the wings and the horns disappeared. I think that's what the black flames that are around his body, I think that's what it's kind of showing us. The wings and horns disappeared off of his corpse. I don't see them on here at all anymore in this new panel. They're only on Gonko, right? So his body is back to normal. One more thing before I leave and end this chapter video. I think that Imu um as like, I don't know, like the door closes in this throne room. The door closes. You know, Gunko's supposed father is still there, and we see the flame that was the I guess the bird, right? I forget his name, but is it Mars? The celestial dragon, Gorosei Mars, right? The giant bird flame kind of dissipates and it disappears. And we hear the door close and slam. I don't know why the door slammed. I think Imu left, but he's still speaking to Goro and Gunko. He's still speaking to them through their minds and whatnot. They leave the room and follow, I guess, after suit. But before then, there's still flames in the room, but they're just like leftover flames on the ground. Imu's like the big flame body of Imu like that he had is not in the room anymore. So I think he left. I don't know if that's important or not, but Imu did leave. And that's the last thing I need to take note of. But yeah. Anything else I can think of adding, I'll put in the comments. But for now, I'm out.